What happened there? My countdown got screwed up. Well, I dropped the ball. I should hit the button again. Guys, friends, welcome to this week's episode of I almost said my podcast, too. I'm so thrown off. Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk Marketing, a conversation with our friend Dan Lotz. This is going to be awesome this week. That is really, really funny. I don't know how the heck that happened. I hit live, and it just did not go live. So maybe I needed to double click this time. I'm not quite sure. But that's on me and not reflective of all of my skills as a one-man team producing and hosting all at the same time. So, as I said earlier on this week's show, we're going to have a nice conversation with filmmaker extraordinaire. See, I used extraordinaire this time. Last time I had an interview on, I said, what did I say about Jason that he didn't like? I said incomparable. He didn't like incomparable. So let's see how Dan feels later about extraordinaire if he has another E word instead. But I got to be honest with you. I'm excited just because it's nice to sit down and talk with filmmakers that are doing different sorts of stuff that have also kind of figured out how to work things in and out of cycle and that are kind of extending what that means. Because you've heard me talk in the past about working a 90-day cycle for the release of a film. But how do we extend that, especially for indie filmmakers and beyond? So that's super cool, and I'm excited to talk with them. And I hope you guys are excited to stick around and listen to what we have to say. Right now, we're waiting for a bunch of people to dive into the room as it is. Facebook, as always, is notoriously slow for notifying everybody. So if you guys can hear me, what I really need is, as always, a Marshall Ware on LinkedIn. Holy cow. Marshall Ware saying howdy. What is up, Marshall? Long time no talk, my friend. Hope you can stick around and catch a little bit of the program. You're going to be dazzled by Dan. Dazzled like a sparkler. He's like a firework, this one. Like a tiny bottle rocket, but neither a bottle rocket. He's like a man-sized thing, so it's not tiny. So that was a bad thing to say. Yeah, I sometimes do that. But and as always, we have a lot going on this week. We have stuff to discuss from within the groups that we built. And then also, we're going to have some really, really killer conversation with Dan, who we're going to bring on now. I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to unmute the man and bring him into the group now. Here is incomparable Dan Lotz. Now, he's incomparable as well, too. I said what did I say?
You said extraordinaire.
Yeah, you're extraordinary.
And I was thinking, entertaining, something like that could be another E word.
Can we say effervescent? Like you could be like
effervescent.
You'd be refreshing and bubbly.
Yeah, that might be sort of my personality. I guess I could see that.
It's just a small portion. Yeah, and I want to, as everyone's starting to learn over time here, it's been years of me cultivating kind of a conversational style instead of a straight weird interview style. I like to talk with guests. Yeah. So obviously we're all Stephen Neuer chiming in. Here we go. The stash is on point.
The stash is on point.
Today,
I would agree.
Thank you. Lots of good facial hair today.
Yeah.
I can't grow a beard. I'm incredibly. That's the reason I did this.
This is. I'm working on a movie, and I'm actually growing a beard for the movie. So I've been just kind of growing it out because I act in my own stuff. So having the beard is kind of valuable because I look weird without a beard.
Yeah, and actually, we'll get to that in time because I know that's like we could jump right to that, but that would really ruin the timeline of my fake index card of notes. There's no
gotcha.
Notes. That's not how things work.
I can't go around. It's not. You got to go in one area. It's linear like a script.
No, there's no. I got to be honest with you. There is no script with me. There's no first. The first act and the third act run right together, just right up against each other. And the inciting incident is going to come shortly. No, so let's talk about how did you get started with filmmaking? How did this all start for you?
So I'll go way back and then I'll jump a little bit ahead. So basically when I was a kid, I was really into animations. And I had a pretty successful YouTube channel with animations, probably garnering about 1 million views back when YouTube was like first starting. But I never kept with it. It was never really a passion of mine. I did like it, but I got into filmmaking because one of my parents was like, you should do that instead of animation because you don't really seem to like animation anymore. So I started doing it, started falling in love with the art of cinema. And then fast forward, sort of keep the story sort of short. Basically, I started getting serious, making a bunch of shorts just with my friends, having fun. And then they all went off to college. Me and my best friend, Joel Dick, who's my cinematographer and my kind of partner in crime, we decided to start making serious short films. And then we decided, like, screw it, let's just make feature films. Like, that seems to be where the market is. That's what we like to do. We kind of don't like making short form stories because it's kind of hard for us to tell everything we want to tell. Yep. So we jumped into that, and we've been doing that since 2017. And really, I would say officially getting going around 2019 is when everything sort of started hitting the channel and getting really excited about posting my films and getting people to watch them.
Right. I actually read in one of the interviews you did about the fact that, you know, you moved from shorts to features a lot for that reason. It's kind of difficult to put everything you're thinking and feeling into something in such a short narrative time frame.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know if it's just the way I look at stories. It's very hard for me to get emotionally invested in a 4-minute piece, even if it's something really, really emotional. For me, it's over in a blip, and there's 100,000 of them that are fantastic, and it's very hard to compete. It's a very competitive environment. Feature films are less competitive in a weird way because there's less people doing it. So you're in this higher crowd already because there's, let's say, instead of 10,000 people making short films, there's only 500 people making feature films. So you kind of stand out a little bit more, I think.
Right. And that makes sense. And to this point, I wanted to say this. My background, it always comes up when people start interviewing me or talking to me about, like, how'd you get into features or films or marketing movies? How did that happen for you? A lot of it is like, oh, I got into making movies that never came out. You know, we jumped right to features and we didn't make all the necessary mistakes. Do you think that you made the necessary mistakes making shorts that allowed you to move into features, or were you successful enough with shorts, but you were just frustrated with them?
I think I just knew we had sort of made a really big feature or short right before we did the features. It was called Pull the Trigger, and it was this kind of like it was like a test statement. So up until that point, we had done a bunch of like little shorts that kind of like probably like over like 100 shorts that were just little skits and sketches and stuff. And then we got to this bigger short, and it was like the bridge in my mind. I basically was like, if this doesn't go well, we're just going to stick with shorts or we're just going to quit. And then it went really well, and we liked it, but we still felt shackled by the short format. And we were like, well, now it's just time to just jump to features now. And I feel like if we hadn't done that big short, we would have never been ready to do the first feature film that we did.
Cool. Yeah, you have to this is kind of like a rock and roll thing too, you know what I mean? Like, my background in marketing is, if you don't know this, is I did lots of entertainment, started in music and then moved to film and stuff, and you see lots of similarities there as well too. Like, you make the small mistakes, you and you get yourself to that place where you're ready for the long form. Like, if you don't record the EP, if you don't record the single, you're never ready for the full length.
Yeah, and I would never, as much as I think going to features sooner is good, I would never suggest not like kind of stopping and doing a couple shorts at least first. I think everyone needs to learn the rudimentary aspects of filmmaking before they can kind of jump into what I would consider the big leagues.
Yeah, it's some big stuff. So now, there's a lot that can be said about how you look at filmmaking as a whole. And one of the terms that's come up that you've been asked a lot about has been folk filmmaking. What exactly does that mean to you, to my audience, but also for the 60,000th time making you define it?
Yeah, it's a question I get asked often. I want to get asked more, so this is great that you're asking me. Basically, folk filmmaking is a term I coined. It's sort of a term that a friend of mine coined, and I basically was like, hey, can I use this? And this guy is not really in the industry anymore. And he was like, yeah, just go along with it. And so I was the first one who kind of put it onto the internet. And the idea was, there are so many feature films that exist on the internet for free on YouTube, even going back to like the genesis of YouTube, that have been on YouTube, have garnered thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of views, and they have no movement or coalescing vision. And I was like, no one has done this. I looked for it like 100 times over and kept looking for it. Nothing. And I was like, how is this possible? I know at least in my own personal friend circle at the time, I knew like 10 different people who had done the same thing. I'm like, why don't we just make this a movement? There's mumblecore, and mumblecore was as much as it is a joke. I mean, now some of those people like Greta Gerwig and Mark Duplass are now some of the biggest titans in the industry. Yep. And in my opinion, mumblecore in many ways had a lot less artistic merit than some of these folk films that I've seen that are much more polished in terms of how they're filmed, much better acted, much better directed that I've seen. And I'm not saying all of them are. There's some stinkers in there. But overall, I think the folk filmmaking movement is just coalescing and saying, hey, there is a new digital revolution. People can post films for free online and watch them. And you can gain an audience from doing that. And I've done that. And I know a few other people. One of my friends, Joel Haver, who's a personal friend of mine, went from 200 subscribers when I met him to over 1 million subscribers and he is now one of the biggest creators in the world on YouTube. He's been on the front page of YouTube many times, and he's a folk filmmaker, and he came up with some of the ethos behind this. So it's definitely something that's picking up steam.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny that you brought up mumblecore because it's just literally you can bring up Greta. I was like, okay, yeah, that's.
It's more it seems more like a joke, but there's the gems in the rough. I feel like most of mumblecore is like no one remembers any of it, but there's like 1 to 2 movies and 1 to 2 actors that really came out from that, and I think folk filmmaking will be similarly, separate the wheat from the chaff a little bit.
Yeah, I think that there's more. Do I want to use the word aesthetic? I think there's a completely different aesthetic, and I think it's kind of significantly more appealing to the masses. I think that when you bring up something like Greta Gerwig, that's not something my wife would watch. I think that there's something like pardon me for saying so, but my wife would watch The Long Con.
Yeah,
there's a difference. You know what I mean? I could.
Yeah.
Like a Lady Bird.
Yeah.
Here, babe. She's like, I don't. Why? What's with the cast? Why are we jumping out of the car?
Yeah, and I think that is what folk filmmaking is kind of doing, is taking that low budget aesthetic that mumblecore created and perfecting that, and not just doing whiny mopey films.
Yeah,
which is kind of what mumblecore kind of got branded as.
Yeah, and I don't know, and like you said, there is some good stuff there, and there are merits. I did mention one that I really did like, but again, I could watch it and realize that there's a reason I like it. It's like how I like Radiohead and how I get why my mom doesn't like Radiohead.
Yeah.
Or why my wife is like at a Radiohead concert going, why am I here? Like, why did you drag me here? Like, I'm your best friend. That's super cool. Like, why am I here right now?
Yeah, totally. Big Radiohead fan here too.
Oh, nice. It's the best. I don't have my Radiohead poster up in this office.
What's your favorite Radiohead album? Just as a side real quick.
The Bends.
The Bends. It's my favorite too.
It's the
I
Bends.
love the Bends is great.
I also connected to a particular time in my life. I actually got into them later because I had a soccer coach in college that was real big into them. And Kid A and Amnesiac came out when I was finishing college. And he reintroduced me to the Bends after the fact. And that was after I graduated. So like that is literally like I have it on an MP3 player and I'm walking to work every day. At a record store, coincidentally, and like I'm listening to and I'm like, yeah, okay, man, this is the best album.
Yeah,
so we're doing a good one. Did you get a chance yet to watch that interview with me and Jason, or no? Not because I'm trying to push it on you, but because it's really fun.
I did not actually end up getting a chance to see it yet. I saw a snippet, because he shared it, and I watched a little snippet just because I was like, I want to make sure, like,
it's long.
It's they're like he does like long interviews.
Well, Jason Horton schedules you for an hour. He's a dentist.
Yeah. It was so hard because when we did it for mine, we didn't record it off the computer, we recorded off my camera. So my camera overheated twice during the interview because it was such a long interview. And then someone came to my door and I was like, the interview was a mess. He edited it perfectly. It seems like nothing was wrong, but like the whole interview was actually very stressful on my part because I was like screwing things up, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, man.
And he's like, I made him uncomfortable twice because I called him a unicorn.
A unicorn.
Because
I think in the sense that I think you were trying to be complimentary, is what
I was, of course. And actually, I didn't say it as in like you're a unicorn from me. I was saying from the community of young independent filmmakers that are looking up to him, he's a unicorn. He knows how to make money making movies in this day and age.
How many people right now who don't have, and I don't think Jay Horton has a giant audience. He has a very sizable audience, but not like crazy. How many people with that level of audience are making a full-time living at it? That's impressive. Like I throw it up to Jay Horton all the time. I really appreciate the fact that he has found a method that works, that can sustain him, and hopefully going into the future can make keep doing that.
Yeah, we were talking during our conversation, and this is obviously, like I said, we free flow here. I was just like, I can't believe how much you've done, and I don't think you can process it most of the time. Like, on top of your films that you do, and on top of what you produce, I was like, you're also running this channel full time with like all these interviews you're shooting a week, plus what you're editing to put out a week, plus what your other content to put out.
I do. I've done a couple interviews, and they are impossible to edit. They're like, especially if you want to really edit them down, they take a lot of time.
They take forever. They're so hard to do. Even I've done because I run out of time because I have to do work, for the company as well too. It's like me and two people, and those two people aren't full time, so it's like it's me. I have to do work, and I'm like, I have to do a video, and I'll shoot a video, and then I'll go to edit the thing, and I'm just like banging my head off the desk, like, this is why I'm not a filmmaker. This is why I hire people that are good at this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So back at it. What you've put out 3 features in the last 4 years? Is this right?
4 features in the last 2 years, and there'll be so I'm almost at 5.
Almost at 5. So I flipped the numbers.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, I sometimes forget which ones I'm releasing, which ones when and where. So I released 2 in 2020. I released 2 in 2021, and I have a third one coming out any day now.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it. It's kind of a secret project that I've just been kind of doing on the side, and I'm hoping to announce it with a trailer maybe in the next few weeks.
Oh, nice.
And then just probably hot drop it right onto YouTube, because with these smaller projects, I just like to just get them out there.
So this is the thing that I like the most is your marketing wise. You look at YouTube the way I looked at YouTube, which is that I could distribute to like Film Hub, or I could go a traditional route for an indie film, but I'm being gatewayed.
Yep. So the issue you have is that you go through a Film Hub, you go through any of these other platforms, and even if you get a giant audience on, let's say, Amazon, and just 1 million people watch your film, you make, let's say, a couple grand. None of those people are going to directly translate to your next thing, because there's no search way to really find them. You can't like subscribe to a director on Amazon. So you could make one film. I have a friend who made one film on Amazon that did fantastic, and then he's had a bunch of catalog of other films that have struggled to find an audience because there's no way to really directly market you, the director. And I think that with YouTube, the platform just makes it a lot easier to direct your audience to one area and coalesce them and build them up. And hopefully one day take it to Amazon.
So is that how you plan to monetize it? Is that the model that is you monetize it after the fact? Once you have an audience and size, you move it later.
There's 2 ways. There's a few ways to monetize it. So I've made a couple grand off of my releases so far. And the ways I've done it is first through Patreon. I basically have a subscription service on Patreon which is sizable enough. I mean, I've made like a couple grand, like $3 to $5 grand in that.
I'm putting up the YouTube link by the way right now.
Yeah, and so, another way I make money is through YouTube advertising. I've made probably like $500 on YouTube advertising, just from getting AdSense stuff. I still gotta cash the check on that one.
Gotta take that 11 cents.
Yeah, and and so making that there, and then the Patreon. So that's probably like close to like $5.5 grand I've made off of just my films, and that's more than I've spent on my 5 films in total. So I've made a profit. Yeah. So my goal is to build an audience so large, let's say, 15, 20, 30, maybe even 100,000 subscribers. And then I can direct them to a platform like an Amazon or a Tubi TV. And then I have the audience to actually advertise and build that up. Because right now I feel like if I'm just going to gatekeep my films and put them behind a wall, it's only going to limit the amount of people that will actually find me and become a fan of me and like me for who I am.
Which, I mean, it's funny that it's set up that way, that everyone's looking for this, like, oh, here's this golden, you can't see it because we're splitting this golden egg that you're reaching for. Yeah. But realistically, it's like, it's not a profitable strategy. It's just not. It doesn't make sense because unless you're getting a contract, like this is a music thing. You get a contract and then you get money from the contract. Yeah, it makes sense. But that doesn't make sense here because there's no movie studio that's giving you contract for 4 films. Like
or a guaranteed minimum on your film anymore. Like no one's gonna say like, hey, you made the long con, we're gonna guarantee you 20 grand just to put the film out. Like they would be like, yeah, go away.
Nah, they'd be like, no. They'll give you 20 grand if you agree to also clean the cafeteria every
for
night.
6 months. Yeah,
6 months. You do that for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Every day, every day, all day.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the films because I screw up the order and I'm awful about that. I'm bad with numbers and I'm bad with order. At least that's why we only had one kid.
That's funny, man. That's a good joke.
It's a true story. No, because I know Long Con and Chlorine were back to back, right?
Yeah, so the ordering is super weird because we have a very untraditional ordering, which is basically the Long Con was the first film we shot, but the first film we released was Chlorine. So basically, we filmed Long Con. The editing was a nightmare. And the sound design was a nightmare. So we spent 3 years working on it. We released Chlorine. So then you'd think we would release Long Con. No, we made another feature film called Sheep Theater during the pandemic. I made a feature film basically set in my apartment by myself with a bunch of animated puppets that come to life and attack me and try to eat me.
That was your horror movie.
Yeah, so those were those two, and then Long Con finally came out after the 3 years of working on it because the pandemic slowed us down a ton. We had to get together a bunch, and it was really hard to do it separate. And then basically, I made my 4th film, Pure Cinema, in one night. I shot it during the Oscars. It's basically a critique of the Oscars from my perspective, and it's kind of like a meta documentary. That's the most recent thing. And then I have a new film coming out, Watch Me As I Go, which I shot in Myrtle Beach about like a month ago with my wife. It was when we were on vacation, and it was just a ton of fun. It's like a romantic comedy.
Heaven forbid you have to shoot in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach was great.
Yeah, as a person that's about to go on 3 consecutive vacations, I'm excited.
Yeah, I feel for you there because I wish I could be back in Myrtle Beach right now.
Yeah, it's fun. So we're talking. Let's talk Long Con first of all, because would you define that as a noir? Because right when I got to the end, I did this whole time I've been watching it and I wasn't paying attention to my favorite genre.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a mixture of things. I would say it's definitely a crime noir. It has elements of drama, and I even think the final act kind of has like a little bit of horror element to it, weirdly. And that kind of developed naturally. That part was never intended. It just came out that way when we filmed it. I don't even know the aesthetic of the cinematography almost even took the 70s horror vibe, like John Carpenter. at the very end. But I feel like the majority of the film is a crime noir drama. That's like 99% of it, and then there's that last like 1 or 2%, which has that kind of like horror slasher vibe at the very end.
Yeah, for sure.
And those are, crime is just the genre I love the most. That's like my bread and butter. If there was any genre, I'd have to pick the most that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on one sec. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I got a note and I want to look at something just to make sure everything's all right. Okay, and all right, cool. Now I had a comment come in here from Mark Murphy that gave that Bitly link, and I was like, I already have the Bitly link up here. It's because he went to Bitly the thing and it had come in. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't screw it up. I'm like, I know I tested it 3 or 4 times.
So you send them to some random other 922 films. They're just like getting like hundreds of subscribers. What's going on?
This guy's like, what is going on?
They've broken the algorithm.
All the people from Filmmaking, Filmmakers Connect, Jay Horton, my Let's Talk Marketing, all these groups are going wild.
Going crazy.
Yeah, they're like, what is going on? Yeah, it was funny. So I love that I broke the intro, by the way. That's my favorite part of the whole day. The whole day that I hit live on the show.
I was laughing like the second you did that. I was just going crazy. It was like
the thing clocked down and I hit live and I'm just sitting there waiting and I'm doing my little dance and I'm getting ready. And then it's like, do you want to go live? And it came back on. And I was like,
what?
Yes.
I would love to go live. Yeah.
I would love to go live. Yes. So let's keep that on the screen. So now Chlorine, I respect as a big man myself. I respect that it's a courageous thing. It's also selfish and beautiful that you were like, I'm a chubby dude and I'm going to be out in front of the camera as the leading man. What was it about that other than, don't say sheer necessity. I've taken that away.
No, and it wasn't. I actually wanted, there is literally, and I think you know this as a big guy as yourself, there is no representation where the fat guy isn't the funny joke of the film.
That's literally all we are.
We are only the funny joke in every film. And it's not like a boo-hoo, woe was me type thing, but it's more like there's nothing in terms of body positivity for men in any film other than being like some funny joke. So I was like, what if it would be cool if like, hey, I am a bigger guy. What can I play realistically? I'm like, a crime character would be cool, but like, he's not the butt of the joke. He's actually this stoic, serious character. And yeah, I don't know. It was just really, really fun. I mean, I was very self-conscious with myself just in general filming it at first, but as it went along, I started to become more comfortable, and it's definitely been the film that led me into getting into acting. And now I really like acting, and I don't know. I think it was really, I don't want to say brave, but it was just a big leap for me because I had never acted before. I'm not the leading man type. And ultimately it's my most successful film. I mean, over 200,000 people have seen some part of Chlorine. There was an interview I did that got about 200,000 views on YouTube, and they had tons of clips of the film in it. And so at least like 230,000 people have seen Chlorine, like have seen me running around doing all my stuff. And I think that's crazy that film that was kind of just started as like a statement just to do something because I wanted to act would become somewhat popular. And it's the thing I'm kind of known for, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was funny because not in the like haha at you thing. It was funny because when I thought about it, it was no different for me when we did King of Fitness, my web series, because I'm literally the exact same size I was then. Yeah, as I was and I was like, I wonder if that's what I was doing. Like I didn't lose the weight to do the romantic lead. I didn't, I just kind of was like, no, this is how I look and this is who I am. And I was playing a filmmaker that had directed an action film that had fallen apart, and I was trying to get the leading lady, who was my ex-girlfriend, to sign off on the forms. And like it was just one of those circumstances that I just happened to be chubby as hell. Yeah,
and I think that there's sort of a statement of like, I'm not gonna lose like 200 pounds to get to like jacked like Vin Diesel or something. No, it's like, and we played it up in the film. we have the opening hitman who gets killed. He's like this tough, he's got his head shaved. He looks like he's jacked. He comes in and he gets wiped out instantly because spoilers, obviously, but it's so early in the film, it doesn't really matter. And I don't know, I thought it would be funny that like there's all these other tougher looking dudes that end up getting wiped out, and I'm like the character that survives, even though I'm not the typical character you would expect.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. We're resourceful people. We know where all the Chick-fil-A's are.
Yes, exactly. There's one down the street. I was just there a couple weeks ago.
Regardless of the moral feelings I may have about them, I got to tell you, I know where they all are.
That's funny.
So, but that's cool. All right. So, what? You can't talk about the new one as far as a project, but what are you thinking beyond that? So, I'm sure you've already got in your head what you're thinking is the next project. What are you thinking you want to do next?
And I can talk about the new one a little bit if you want.
Oh, to. Yeah. Then do it. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about that, and then I'll talk about what I'm doing. So, yeah, that one, I mean, the goal, I guess, for it is I'm doing sort of two different series of films right now. One I call my Lucy's, and one I'm calling my 12 features. Lucy's are basically like, if you ever heard of a rap album, there's like loose songs, they call them Lucy's.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just doing loose films right now where I'm literally just putting up a 40-minute feature, a 50-minute feature, a 60-minute feature, just hot dropping it on YouTube for fun, like making it in a week, a month, 2 months, putting it out for literally no expectation for it to do crazy great. Just doing it because I enjoy it. And then I have a project I'm starting in August, which will be making 12 features in 12 months. A feature film every month until I'm done. And basically, I don't know if I'll release them in 12 months. It probably might take like 2 years to get it all out. But basically, make a film every month until I die. and by that, I mean, like, just there's so much workload. It's going to be crazy workload with that. But I'm really excited for 12 features. I have a bunch of scripts. Really working hard on one called End of the Decade, which is an idea that I have. It's kind of a paranoia thriller film in the vein of like Inherent Vice, but like sort of more fit with the times right now, and just kind of all the political and Hollywood commotion that's been going on in the recent years. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. I think people will like it.
Cool. It's cool. Well, that's awesome. I think that is everything I want. I don't know if I have any other questions other than the questions I'm going to bring to the table in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Are you ready for the questions I said I was going to bring in 2 seconds?
Let's do it.
You saw it before, so let's bring it up. Here we go. It's weird because now we're really tiny. So this is you from before. And
okay.
I hope that this works. Hold on. I love GIFs. I wish I had more music. You know what the problem with using music on this is?
Yeah.
Turns out that Facebook will rip you off immediately. They don't even wait.
Yeah, YouTube is like that too. Like YouTube, you can get away with copyright posting videos with the songs in them, but you can't get away with it doing a live stream. It's so weird.
Yep, you'll live stream and take it out. All right, so here we go. It's been such a nice day. And I just want to point out to everyone that didn't pay attention yet, I did do my interview with Jason Horton. So you can check that out on my page, but whatever. Here's what I wanted to ask. So, of Dan, we had a thing up on my page this week that's gotten really big response. I got over 93 comments from buddies of mine here. I call them friends, not fans, because they're not fans. Fans move air. What's the best quote ever said about one of your films?
I feel like I'm just going to go with a really basic one. Basically, my favorite thing is when someone says it's their favorite film. I had 1 or 2 people who have actually said, this is literally my favorite film. I think it was for my film Sheep Theater. Someone said, wow, this is my favorite film. This is so beautiful. And I know that seems very basic, but I don't know. When you hear that, you don't hear that often. And when you do hear that, it's like, oh my gosh, like someone literally thinks this is the best film they've ever seen. That's so cool. So that's my favorite quote about one of my films.
Yeah, it's pretty beautiful. It's got to be a really nice feeling. I get that comment all the time. People write me and they're like, this has been my favorite episode ever. And that's 100% in my head, or it's my mom.
my mom's on secret accounts. I think I'm getting these genuine comments.
My mom writes negative comments on Jason Horton videos, Jay Horton videos. I don't know. I wish I should literally click over. The insecure piece of me got this really negative comment on the video on the interview, and I was like, "Oh man, that really hurts."
Yeah,
I'm like, wait a sec.
You should see the best quotes I have about me that are negative. There's some doozies.
Oh man, I never got any bad ones. Never ever. All right, so let's do this. I want to actually troll through a bunch of five good ones that we got here and kind of get your feedback on what you think about these. There's no tricks, nothing like that. I don't do gotchas. I just went the wrong way. My mouse is a magic mouse. So Rob, you know Rob Margulies?
I do not.
Okay, Rob Margulies kind of is Bobcat. I can't think of the name of the film he's doing right now. He's got a film right now that a heavyset guy needs to get in shape because someone in his family dies, and he takes up boxing, but is shooting it in real time. So over the course of a year, the person is really losing weight by boxing.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, super, super cool. So here's what Rob said. Rob said, a friend once told me the person next to them in the theater laughed so hard they shat themselves. My friend's quote, I had to hide my nose in my shirt for half the film because the guy next to me shat himself from laughing so hard, which had made me abruptly stop laughing.
That once happened to me at a theater. Someone else did that. It was actually it was a concert for what band? It was an 80s band, and there was this guy, and he literally shit himself next to me, and it was the worst feeling in my entire life. I could not breathe for 2 hours.
So badly wanted to be like Rat or someone.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, what was it? I'll have to think about it. I'll keep reminding myself, see if I can remember who it was.
Let's see if I'm back over on this page. Yeah, this is another one of the routine things that happens to me because I have the magic mouse. When I'm moving screen to screen, for whatever reason, the presentation will just flip 4 slips ahead. And I'm like, okay, well, now you know what happened on that page. Yeah,
you
all right.
jumped ahead.
The next one, Chris Perillo. 2 separate people that were in the middle of a divorce told me that my movie, Nothing from Something, was too real to enjoy certain parts. I'm paraphrasing, but it shows me that I was honest and grounded in reality, at least.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's got to be a high compliment, especially if someone thinks it's so potent that they can't even watch it for just a little bit of time.
You know, the thing is, what if they were watching it? I mean, did they watch it together? Like if they were watching it together, that would hurt a lot. That would be painful. I have a friend that's pretty prominent in the rap scene that watched the Black Mirror episode where they like measure how compatible they are, husband and wife, and then they realized they watched it and like I guess they had a conversation and realized they were no longer on the same page and got a divorce. So he wrote a song called "The Black Mirror Episode Ruined My Marriage" type.
That's funny.
So it's kind of like that. Open Mike Eagle. He's pretty self-effacing. He's literally one of the nicest freaking guys, though. Let's go for the next one. Your screening last night made me go home, turn on music real loud, and start painting like a mad woman. So this is actually based on Scramble Vision. It's the name of a film. It's a documentary film with a lot of like 60s and 70s jam bands, like really long. And what the people do is they bring up this one particular artist and he does an oil painting on stage of the band performing while he's on there. So he treats it like it's an instrument. So yeah, like write it down. Scramble Vision is the name of the movie. It's pretty dope.
I'll have to check that out. Sounds cool.
It's actually on YouTube. The whole thing is on YouTube. The person just literally put it up there, but it is super, super cool. If you're in it all, and it's like a whole bunch. It's I can't think of the names of the bands right now, but it's like you wouldn't if you think like Grateful Dead, take 2 steps down from them, and like bands that would have opened for them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's so cool though, very cool. But like that compliment was a really big deal. And actually, the person wrote me back later to tell me who this was. This is Eric here. We've got. Yeah, it's going. He said, may sound callous, but I've had many people tell me my films made them cry, and that made me proud. Film to me is about sharing an emotional experience with an audience.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely true. I've had a few people say that too about films that I've made, like emotional, cried, whatever. That's always a great compliment to get.
And why didn't it go? Oh, there we go. And then Justin Snyder. You know Justin at all?
I do not.
Justin did Bigfoot Path of the Beast.
Okay.
He's frequently around the community as well, too. He said, but I'm paraphrasing here because I thought this was about Bigfoot Path of the Beast, which literally would make sense. But I'm paraphrasing here, but a reviewer once came up with an elaborate interpretation of my film and how it's about the environment punishing mankind, kind of out of left field and way more in depth about the subtext than I gave with my vision. And I was like, oh, is this about Bigfoot Path of the Beast? Because I've watched it. And he goes, no, it's about an earlier film, which made it funnier, which had nothing to do with Earth. Nothing to do with outdoors, nothing to do with animals, nothing of the sort. So yeah, that was
there are some critics out there that will find the subtext somewhere. They will mine it underground, whatever they have to do.
Yeah. It is, needless to say, funny thing. So, well, that is awesome. I appreciate you coming on. We are so happy to have had you. Let's hear some plugs from you. What can we get from you? Where can people find you?
I think you can find me down at that bit.ly link, or you can just search up 922 Films on YouTube. You can also follow me at DAN_LOTZ, Dan Lotz, on Twitter, Dan Filmman on Instagram. I have a couple films, 4 feature films for free on my YouTube channel. Go watch them. They are entirely free. If you like crime movies, if you like horror, if you like kind of meta documentary stuff, that's the type of stuff I'm working on right now. And there are going to be a lot more feature films coming out. So those are the things I would plug. Yeah, check out here and keep watching what you're doing, because this is cool.
Let's Talk Marketing is fun. I am enjoying it. We are now 21 consecutive weeks into me sitting by myself in my office. I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm surprised you can't hear the cicadas.
Nothing. Your mic's pretty good.
Yeah, it's literally right outside the window. So I dialed it in well. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, you definitely did, because it just all I'm hearing is nothing, just noise.
I can barely hear you.
Barely hear you. Yeah, I'm screaming.
Just keep screaming.
Just scream louder.
Well, cool. Dan, thank you again. I'm going to wrap the show shortly.
Okay.
So, cool. And I will see you soon. Let's keep in touch.
Okay.
And we'll do this again sometime, friend.
Thanks, man.
Of course. What a good guest. What a fun guy. Dan Lotz is going to put out really quality movies for years to come. I'm really, really excited to see and continue to watch where the man is going, because we have friends in common that spoke really, really highly of his work. And I'd been trolling the scene, trying to find out what he was doing, just to kind of get a feel for, like, what are filmmakers doing that's different, that's new, that's fresh? What kind of material is out there? And how are they looking at things? And it's important to me that we kind of share and continue to commune. So remember to hit the link, man. Check out Dan's work. Make sure you go to 922 Films on YouTube. It's bit.ly/922 Films. I know that thing is not clickable. Damn that non-clickable link, but damn, it's so simple to just type. So just use a keyboard. Use the keyboard. Now, to wrap the show, we always do something every single week that is punishment from my son, and I'm going to do it. It is Words of the Week. Oh my gosh. Now, anyone that's come to the show before knows that Words of the Week is a segment wherein I have to do something crazy. Carter gets access to my presentation deck at the end of every single day. So I did the presentation yesterday through this afternoon. He had access to the deck because the kid knows how to use Google Drive, which is really cool that they allow kids to do that at school. It's also sort of frightening. He gets access to randomwordgenerator.com, goes in, punches in 3 times or whatever many times he feels like to get 3 words, doesn't know the definition of usually, and he puts them into this deck with the help of his mom when he can't do it properly, and then he gives them to me in the deck. So I have not seen these 3 words. Now, what do I have to do? I have to define these 3 words or give an example of these 3 words as it pertains to movies, film, marketing in general, or my career. I've been failing lately on these. He gave me some hard ones the last couple weeks, but we'll see how this goes this week. Yeah, he doesn't know what this means. He does not know what this means. He does not. Expenditure? He's 7. He doesn't know what expenditure is. All right, here we go. expenditure. I know what an expenditure is. I'm just trying to use it in a way that's creative. If your overall budget of creativity was based around, no, I don't like that, based around sweat equity and the idea of no, I don't like that. I don't know. I think I lost. Expenditure is an amount of money that's given out to a person when they don't win. I don't know. I lost that one. I lost it. He got me. I'm shook. He shook me 2 weeks ago with these. Expenditure. I lost to a 7-year-old. Heard. All right, good. The best way to look at marketing is not to look at your potential consumer as a herd of people that can be moved as a subtle nuance, but it's able to look at each one as an individual and understand the best of your ability, that individual persona or avatar's needs and wants, and then see what you can do to not just convert, but also to delight them after they become a consumer. How do you attract, convert, delight them? How do you make sure that they come into your flywheel or your funnel, depending on how you look at inbound marketing, and make sure that they can be wooed? I mean, you got to make sure that they're happy so that they continue to spread the word, go from strangers to advocates, and then continue to spread the word and spin that wheel, so that you don't have crappy advocates. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You need people that are talking about you and spreading the word, which I didn't mean to say spreading with an H. Q. If you do things right, regardless of what product you're selling, you should be able to get someone queued up for either a premiere, a debut, or something great for your project. So if you're doing, let's say, a music release, I'm helping my cousin right now with his band. You should be able to actually get your project not just out there to websites and magazines and radio stations. You shouldn't just be able to get the single out there for them to listen to, but you should also be able to get people with a vested interest in seeing and hearing the success of your project. You should be able to get them listening to what you're doing, and you should get them queued up. And the best way to do that is to really not just find people that like what you do, but also find people that might like what you're capable of doing. And that's just kind of where my head's at on that. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. Nope, didn't want to go there yet. That's me on. I think I did the 3. I don't know what you guys think on that. I'm going to ask for votes. Scale of 1 to 5. 1 being crap, 5 being good. Where do you think I ranked this week on words of the week? I know where my score is at. Expenditure got me. I got shook by expenditure. I'm actually going to go downstairs because he's still doing schoolwork for the next hour, and I'm going to interrupt his classwork to give him a little tap on the back of the head and say, thanks for expenditure, bud. Man, that was rough. Yep, getting a couple 2s. And I left it up on the screen. I do want you guys to remember, even though we're doing words of the week right now, I want you guys to be checking out Dan's films. I want you to get to his YouTube page, 922 Films. Get to the YouTube. It is bit.ly/922 Films. Capitalize that F when you do 922 Films, so that you can support him and what he's been doing for the last couple of years here. He's put out some really great work. I do think that both Long Con and Chlorine are great picks. And I'm really, really creative, especially for the budget he's doing it on. You know, if you can do anything for less than $1,000, that's crazy. I didn't make my web series for less than $1,000, and we got a 2. Yeah, we got another 2. Okay, so we're good. I got some 2s. I'll take them. I'll take the 2s. And so what do we do next? Well, here's what we always do, guys. We go over here. As we wrap every week, we go where to find me. You find me on Facebook at Sean Michael Smith. On Twitter, you can find me at Sean M. Smith. Over here on Clubhouse now, as crazy as that sounds, I'm at Sean M. Smith as well. I was lucky enough to be able to get that. That was crazy. I'm surprised that wasn't taken in the course of a year, but some other Sean M. Smith wasn't greedy. On Instagram and Twitch, I'm S222. On YouTube, I am Sean Smith 22. Capitalize both of the S's to find me. And I have a podcast with my 7-year-old son that I mentioned before that comes out every single Tuesday morning. It's called Potato Salad Marmalade. It is a crazy, fantastical, and wonderful adventure that we have. Sometimes we sit round tables, sometimes we go on adventures. Every time, it's always fun, and it's cool to sit down with my son. A lot of people would be very happy to be able to have this kind of time with their dad. I feel very fortunate to be able to teach my son stuff about podcasting and about life. So go to potatosaladmarmalade.com or anywhere where you get good podcasting stuff. My mouse just did that thing again. There we go. Told you. And Josh Smith, thank you for popping in for a few minutes to say hello, man. Get that work crammed in. You're doing schoolwork, Mr. Smith. Get that stuff done. It's important you get that stuff done. I know you're on the other side of the pond. Now, as I do every week, if this is your first time coming to the show and you're a filmmaker that's working on a project or looking to get unstuck in a process, here's where I'm from. I offer a free 45-minute consultation for you. Would love to sit and talk. Head up go.onesub.com/Sean M. Smith. Let's just sit down and talk, see if we can put together either a plan for you or see if there's an opportunity that we can work together to see if we can help. I want to see what I can do to give you a hand getting out of a rut that you are in. And with that, I would like to say thank you. As always, guys, it is a fun, wonderful time when you come in and hang out with me every Tuesday at 2:15. It is a blessing. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing it from different locations. Next week, we will be here in Ellicott City, Maryland. The following week, we will be here in Ellicott City, Maryland. And we're looking at weeks ahead. We will be in Florida. So who knows? The background's going to change. It's going to get real weird when we end up at my sister's house. So I don't know what that's going to be. But in the meantime, I would like to thank you all, guys, for hanging out this week. I'll talk to you next week with another great episode of Let's Talk Marketing. Peace out, homies.